then now we're getting ready to go into this second fight. We got Pryoxis, big time content creator Pryoxis versus Young Po. One thing about Pryoxis, he is one of the top 100 UFC 4 eSports competitor, a very technical fighter. He prides himself at being a sim player. He likes playing these games the way that they're supposed to be played. He doesn't like to have a lot of cheesy stuff in his opponents, and he prides himself at being that sim player. His grind on the YouTube scene has been absolutely crazy. Pryoxis has done a very good job this year of just grinding on the YouTube scene. So I'm looking forward to both of those players. Now, with Young Po says he's a ghost in there. When my opponent thinks I'm there, I will not be there. When my opponent thinks I'm not there, I will be there. I can hit him from all angles. And Young Po is also a content creator. You got to check out Young Po on his YouTube and his Twitter and his Discord. He's also a UFC eSports Summer Series Grand Finale participant. He says he believes the style in UFC games will translate directly over to the world of boxing. Now, Pressy, is that true? Just because you're good at UFC 4, does that have any carryover into Fight Night Champion? And these guys can start up the match.
You know, it's you know, they're two different games, but that is practically the same thing. To punch or kick my opponent in the face and win the fight. It's a sport fighting game, different games, but same goal: to get the W, to impose my IQ over my opponents, to beat him in everything that he's not good at, and to excel at everything that I am good at. So find his weaknesses, expose them, gather what my strengths over him are, and just build on that and try to break him. This is going to be interesting. Again, like we said earlier, Boxer, these guys know each other. They're no strangers. So, and I believe they've even fought, I think they possibly fought on this game as well before in the past, not only UFC, but don't quote me on that. Looking forward to this fight. I mean, again, this is going to, nothing but high level IQ. So ready to get this one on the go. Who have you got for this one, Boxer?
Man, right now, I've seen Pryoxis fight in a lot of esports events, and he is high level. This is the highest level you can get. One of the top guys in UFC, so I've seen him fight. So I'm going with Pryoxis on this one, but this is an opportunity for Young Po to make his name right here on the scene. Can Young Po kind of pull up this upset here? But if Pryoxis and Young Po are free to start this match at any point, it looks like Pryoxis is going with Ray Leonard, and we have Hagler here for Young Po.
Young Po is Ray Leonard and Pry is Hagler, I believe.
Okay, all right, yeah. Young Po is Leonard. Okay. All right, so with Sugar Ray Leonard, we already know he has a speed of 99. He also has an endurance of 98, conditioning of 98, and his toughness of 95, and that's his athleticism. So you got to really be careful. Now, the punches that you got to watch out for Sugar Ray Leonard is his right hook. His right hook is a 20 out of 20, so you don't want to be taking a lot of right hooks from Sugar Ray Leonard. And then his straight to the head is also an 18. So, I mean, with all that endurance, with all of that punching power, I mean, man, that might spell a lot of trouble there for Pryoxis. What do you think, Press?
This might be fight of the night. Just going to put that one out there. Hagler is no slouch himself. He's got one of the best, one of the highest jabs out there, 19 rated, I believe, as well. He lands those big bombs. He's got that 20 rated right hook as well. He's got a combination of 20, so he can mix it up in each and every way that he wants to, and his blocking is right up there as well. So if I'm Marvin Hagler, I'm not gonna be too paranoid about my opponent's power. But here we are, round one, and just 1 minute in. Both guys are not wasting any time to string a few punches together here and meet in the middle of the ring, Boxer.
Yeah, and right now for Pryoxis, also the skills on Marvin Hagler. Right hook is a 20 out of 20. You can't mess around there. His endurance is a 96. His condition is a 98. So these guys actually match up very well against each other. This is a classic matchup here. And look, I'm seeing a lot of counter punches coming out right here, Pressy. This is absolutely crazy.
Young Paul just trying to keep Pryoxis backed up, keep him on his toes, keep him thinking about what's coming. Pryoxis eventually has got to let those hands go because he has to get Young Paul's respect and keep Young Paul on the back foot. You would not think that you would.
Every punch that they're throwing, we're seeing that power punch animation come out. I mean, it is absolutely incredible. A little bit different from the previous fight. I'm seeing a lot of counter punches here, and they got to be careful. This one may not go the distance.
Well, both guys just trying to throw those jabs and straights to the... exactly there. That's what I was looking for. Both guys throwing those straights to the body, and as I say that, bang, lead uppercut by Pryoxis. Great punch there. And I think that one punch just might win him the round.
Yeah, that right uppercut to the head is an 18 out of 20 from Marvin Hagler, and you do not want to be taking those. It'll end your night early. And what are we seeing right now early from the fighting styles of Pryoxis and Young Po? Is a lot more heavy punches landed here in round one. But who did you have in that first round?
Just edged it. I thought Pride just because of that end, the uppercut end. I thought it was a very even round going until that last 10 seconds of that round. I thought it was a good, significant punch there by Pride. But look at Young Po trying to pour on the pressure and talk about getting caught for hook. Good stuff here by Young Po. Really trying to put that pressure on Pride. Literally in his breathing space, toe to toe. Phone booth stuff here by Young Po. Trying not to give Pride any chance to think. But Pride trying to mix up that uppercut. Straight left down the pipe. Young Po, good defense, but eats that left hand just as I say that, boxer.
Yeah, now look at this man. Pryoxis just landed power punch after power punch. You literally can't take a lot of this. One thing that I forgot to mention, the jab on Marvin Hagler is a 19 out of 20. And that's why we're seeing just that camera rock almost every time Pryoxis touches Young Po with that jab. You cannot take even jabs from Marvin Hagler. Marvelous Marvin Hagler just in here doing his thing right now. I'm just seeing Pryoxis landing heavy shot, power punch after power punch. Pressy, this is looking really impressive, but Young Po and Leonard is still just pouring on the gas, and this is the second time that we're seeing the fighter in the league kind of fighting off of that back foot. But now, whatever happened, Young Po backing up there, Pressy.
You know what? I actually like what Young Po's doing here. It's a game plan that might not win him the earlier rounds because he's the one that's actually putting the pressure in, but it's pressure with thought. He's not putting that pressure in there without thought. He's putting the pressure in there and he's actually aiming for that body. He's throwing that 2-piece, 3-piece to the body. Then he will come up top and try and mix up the levels. But this could pay good and this could pay dividends down the stretch. Because if Young Po can keep this kind of pressure and keep landing the body shots, then Prime might find himself in a bit of trouble down the stretch when it comes to his stamina. But marvelous Marvin Hagler does have great conditioning. I do believe Pride could just be edging this fight. It's 2 rounds to Pride, just ever so slightly in close rounds. But this is good stuff here by Young Po. It's not clean. It's not clear cut no one's actually dominating. It's not clear cut who is actually winning the rounds. It's tight stuff. Pry on the back foot. Po coming in there trying to take his breathing space away from him. And it's back and forward stuff. I believe Pry could find a KO here on a counter, landing something up top. Or Po's going to do some serious damage there to the body of Pryoxis.
Yeah, right. And, like we said, so Sugar Ray Leonard has the endurance and the conditioning to do it. Both stats at 98, so he can go a full 10 rounds and then some. But I'm just seeing so many power punches coming out there from Pryoxis and Marvin Hagler. He is just doing a number, and we'll see the scorecards if the judges agree at the end of the third or inside of that third. But right now, fighting off of that back foot, and again, this is a high-level IQ fight too, but look at those combinations there coming out from Pryoxis. Huge lead uppercuts there. I mean, just landing that will. If you're Young Po, you got to lean on that defense a little bit more, present.
I actually want to see Pry capitalize a bit more. I don't know if you saw that boxer. He actually had 3 counter opportunities there where the camera even swung, it showed you, and he didn't capitalize on it because he just finished throwing his 2-piece and he sidestepped, like just there, just literally again. He's just done it there again. He would sidestep, find the counter, but not capitalize on it. And I want to see him capitalize on these counters, boxer, because once he does, it could be one of the last punches that Young Po feels. And it's bedtime. But
look at that. All 3 rounds for Pryoxis.
So Pryoxis here by the judges. What do you reckon about that, boxer?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Pryoxis landing a lot of power punches, and just like you said, the counter punch is still there. And maybe that's a context switch that Pryoxis and all of the fighters coming over from UFC 4 have to do. They have to get really familiar with these controls. And once that happens, I think you'll start seeing a lot more of these counter punches land. But Pryoxis is landing a lot of power punches. Every time you see that camera shake, that means somebody got hit with a power punch. And we're seeing a lot of that happen, and the judges got Hagler. Look at that, the camera swinging all over the place, Preston.
He's rarely finding a home here for that uppercut, isn't he, boxer? I mean, he's found a home for the uppercut, and he's just sending it there, probably. Whether it's the lead or red uppercut, he's rarely mixing both in. But Po is game. Never write this man off. I mean, he's there still plenty of time in this fight and around. So I would not write Young Po off until it's bedtime.
Exactly. And like you said, Leonard has the endurance to go all the way all day until bedtime. And with that said, he has to be careful. Look at those uppercuts there that Pryoxis is landing using Marvelous Marvin Hagler. And that straight to the head is what you want to land if you're using Sugar Ray Leonard, because that's an 18 out of 20, a very powerful punch in the arsenal of Ray Leonard. But I like what Pryoxis is doing right now. He's keeping that guard high. He's backing up. He's letting Po throw out, but Po knows he's down 3 rounds, similar to the last fight. You got to start stepping on the gas here at some point, but that's going to leave your counter punches open there, and Pryoxis has been landing a lot. But I really feel before the end of this fight, we're going to see somebody hit the canvas there. Round 4, not sure who got that. Maybe that also goes in the way of Pryoxis, but Young Po has to find a way to get some offense going. What would you do here, Pressy, to kind of open up Pryoxis here?
I'll back him up to the ropes. And the difference between Pry and Fanatico with regards to fights, Fanatico was keeping off of the ropes. He was staying far away from the ropes. Yeah. And if he was by the ropes, he was there for a second and it was time to move. Pry, you can't look. Pry is circling close to the ropes. So the closer you get to the ropes, where you see those shadows on the canvas, the closer you move to the ropes, the slower your footwork becomes, and your punch speed as well, I believe, or the more stamina you start to use up when you're throwing punches off the ropes. So if I'm Young Po, I'm just going to keep doing what Young Po's doing. I know he's losing the rounds, but I'm going to try and just chop that body down like he's trying to do. But I'm going to sidestep Pry. So you see, as Pry there is trying to get off the ropes, he sidestepped to the right. I'm going to be sidestepping with him. So when I sidestep with him, he's got a sidestep again. It's like a game of chess. He's got a sidestep again to either side to get out of my range, out of my my range of punches. So Young Po's just got to time himself. Keep doing what you're doing, but with more timing, with more thinking, because Pry is those side steps up and in stamina. You using your footwork, burning stamina. So if I can keep him sidestepping, and keep him as close as possible to the ropes, I'll be able to do something, or, you know, hopefully it will pay dividends, like I said, with the stamina going into round 7 and 8.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good tip right there. And you keep your opponent back on the back foot and crowding into those shadows, into those ropes. then maybe you can wear down on your opponent's stamina. But here's one thing about boxing. It's not all about stinging like a bee. It's also about floating. And one thing I see with Pryoxis, he's backing up and he's having Young Po come to get him. And whenever that happens, he's getting caught coming in. Young Po has to be careful. You have to be, you have to stay aggressive, but you can't get caught coming in. And I'm surprised Leonard actually is still up, because look at all of these shots over and over here. Pryoxis is just landing these power shots on Young Po as he's chasing and coming in. Young Po is continuously trying to set up, and Pryoxis is just having him walk right into those punches, right into those power punches. He's not able to crowd him enough to keep him up against those ropes. He's trying to keep Marvelous Hagler on those ropes, but man, look at these power shots that Pryoxis is just landing over and over. And this is what the judges are seeing, and this is why they're awarding all of these rounds to Pryoxis. Just doing a masterclass right now against Young Po.
Beautiful boxing here by Pride. Beautiful, beautiful boxing, showing you the ring craft, the IQ. This guy is ready for Esports Boxing Club once the game drops. He did just throw a nice 2-punch there, and I love it. And I like to throw these punches that straight left to the body and come up top with a right hook. Great stuff there by Pride. Rarely teeing off on there. Po eats 3 right hooks. Both guys trading in the center of the ring with less than 1 minute left into round 6. Po just shy of that left hook, but Pride coming in range, trying to make some counter straight left by Young Po, trying to find it again. And I just noticed Po's actually boxing out of a southpaw stance. So had that been his right hand, if he was in an orthodox stance and he landed that right hand, you never know what could have happened.
Yeah, exactly, because if you look at the info on Sugar Ray Leonard, he is a orthodox fighter. All right, so whenever you switch to that southpaw position, that's not his original stance there. So, I mean, I'm not sure what strategy Young Po is doing right now, but in this game, you got to be careful because you can get flash KO'd. And I saw Young Po actually land some huge counter shots. But when I see with Marvelous Marvin Hagler, he recovered a lot of stamina in that round. But as the fight goes on into round 8, 9, and 10, you may not recover as much stamina. But man, I mean, Pryoxis has landed so many power punches here, and Young Po has ate all of them. At some point, Pressy, he's going to have to go down. I mean, these are power punch after power punch. But man, Young Po has to be careful here, Pressy.
He does. He really does. But he's playing with fire here, Boxer, trying to mix it up. And as he's going to, he's still investing heavily in that body. And Pride's waiting for him to go for that body and just rip those uppercuts down the pipe and see if he can catch him with something and put him on his back. And look, Po, blood all over the ring. I think he's got a cut on his eye, blood pouring down his trunks. Trying to just trying to find something here into round 7, but I don't know if Young Po has imposed himself to suck that air out of Pryoxis and deplete that stamina for him. It might be a bit late. It looks like he's gonna have to try and find something up top and find that big punch to get that 1-punch knockout. But good counters on the inside there by Pride. Just missing that right uppercut, but a good straight left right uppercut down the pipe by Pride. Both guys mixing it up, action-packed, war here, Boxer.
Yeah, it looks like they're letting their hands go right now. You're coming down to the last rounds, and Pryoxis, he definitely always want to put on a show for the fans, and these guys are letting these hands go. At some point, Pressy, somebody is going to hit the mat, and as you say, that cut there on Sugar Ray Leonard, you got to be careful because his cuts is an 88 out of 100, and his swelling is a 79. So look at there, all rounds there going for Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Pryoxis. So he is in control. It's his fight to lose right now. So if you're Pryoxis, Pressy, how do you go about, you got the fight right now in the hands of the judges. You don't want to do anything too dangerous right now, but Pryoxis seemed like, man, he's like a shark in murky waters. He smells that blood, and he's going for it. But Young Po landed some huge counter shots of his own. Has to be careful with that left hand of Sugar Ray Leonard. But Pressy, what do you do if you're Pryoxis here? You got the fight kind of in the bag right now. Do you go for the knockout, or do you let it go to the judge's scorecard?
Honestly, I'm at that point where I'm very comfortable with my stamina and my health. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, because Young Po is the one that's trying to find the stoppage. At the same time, he's got that cut to worry about, and I know that doctor is taking a close look at that cut. I know the referee is taking a close look at it as well. And it could be a matter of time before this fight is stopped because of the cut as well. So just keep doing what you're doing. If you're He hasn't been hurt, he hasn't been dropped. Just keep doing what you're doing. If I'm Young Po, I need to just try find that one punch. I'm gonna try calculate, mix the head and body punches, but box him to his boost.
Oh,
and it looks
goodness.
like good punches, massive left uppercut, right hook, straight left by Pryoxis. Young Po on his bum again. He gets up on the count of 3. Is this gonna be the beginning of the end with 30 seconds left into round 8?
Wow, man, what IQ that you have to have in this game to put together a game plan and see it unfold in the 8th round. I mean, and that's why in these boxing games and in fight night, I mean, it's so satisfying whenever you finally drop your opponent, because it's all of the work that you put in round 1, in round 2, all the way to round 8. And we just saw a vicious combination let off by Pryoxis. So right now, going into round 9, I would imagine that you would see these hands go, because I know Pryoxis, I know he wants to go for that knockout and take Young Po out of there. But look, man, Young Po is still has his pedal right to the metal, got his foot right on that gas. He's not going to give you any type of room and space. But just look at that IQ. Look at those side steps, those in and out steps there that Pryoxis is using. But they got to be careful, because it is some huge counter punches being exchanged right now. He has to be careful, Pressy. He has his fight in the bag, but things can change in the blink of an eye.
Huge left uppercut there by Pry, but just prior to that, a huge straight left uppercut by Po, and he tries to find it again. If I'm Po, this is the best time to switch my stance. It is my right eye that's cut. It's not looking good, and then he's coming out to box as a southpaw. I think this could be something to do. I could be wrong, but I'm under the impression it's because he's used to using southpaws in UFC and Conor McGregor and things like that. So I think that's why he's come out southpaw. But there is no better time to switch it back. Go back to your roots, your orthodox stance. Hide the cut on the other side, so any jabs that do land, I beg your pardon, straight lefts that do land from Pry are not on the cut. Use himself up, and he survived with plenty of time left in round 9. Survival here by Po, trying to find the clinch, but Pry keeps him off of him, but couldn't drop it. Big body shot there by Pry, standing up for it, and Pro is gatting. He is gatting. He's moving slow. He's boxing with his mouth open. He is trying to get some breath here, but good stuff by Pry. Pry needs to keep the pressure on. 5 seconds left into round 9. Swinging. And he gets dropped again. Oh my days. A whip that was on the barrel. On the barrel.
Up the floor.
You can't write this up.
Is this going to be it? All right, he's going to give it another go, but wow, what a way to end that last round there.
Wow.
We getting ready to see some fireworks right here going into the last round. And look at there, he switches right back to that southpaw position there.
And he tries to fight. An illegal shot there by Young Po. I think that headbutt was an intentional one.
Get one in there, you get one.
Don't be fooled by that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Intentional. You get one. All right, but now look, Pryoxis is turning around into being from the hunted. He's turning around to being the hunter now. He smells that blood in the water. And he's going for that kill, but he has to be careful because he could get counterpunched himself. Young Poe is definitely capable. He going again. I saw it press. He seemed like he did it on purpose.
It looks like the referee deducted a point there for foul play by Young Poe. And a good straight left counter by Young Poe. That's a free piece on Pride on the inside as well. Pride still standing toe-to-toe, not phased by the punches landed by Young Poe. And he's still doing the work. He's trying to put his stamp on this fight. I think he won.
Wow! You let that there!
I think this fight is over.
Marvelous Hagler.
And left uppercut counter. And the Young Poe looks like he's hurt. Can he get up? He looks very wobbly on his legs here. The referee is taking a good look at him. Is he going to let him continue? Yes, he does. 1 minute left in the final round. Can Pride get the stoppage victory that he's pushing for?
Man, Pryoxis really pushing right now inside of 1 minute. Can he do it? He gives him another knockdown.
Puts him down again.
Like knockdown there from Pryoxis.
Oh my days.
Man, what a huge left hand there from Marvelous Marvin Hagler, just dropping Poe continuously again and again.
Boxer, look at the timing. The timing of the punch. He let it rip as soon as he saw Young Poe cut back his own straight left. He thought it's time to land mine first. And I'm telling you what, if Young Poe carries on after this, if he gets up and continues this fight, I mean, heart and determination and shoulder and the fire in his belly, 100.
He's letting it go last 30 seconds, and look, it is no quit right now in both of these fighters, and Pryoxis is just going after it. Last 10 seconds, what can they do? Can he get another knockdown here? Let these hands go.
Wow, what a way to wrap up the fight. What a fight.
Yeah, what a fight, man. I mean, that was a very entertaining fight. Definitely that fight is going to go toward Pryoxis, and both of those fighters had very high IQ. I'm telling you, if you're Young Poe, you're doing good just to make it at the end of that round of 10, because you get knocked down 3 times, it's hard to get back up. Pryoxis with a clean sweep across the board, all 10 rounds there. Very impressive. And I'm telling you right now, before we get on to the next fight, you know, that really sets up a crazy match in round 2 between Pryoxis and Boxing Fanatico. That one's going to be crazy, Pressy. But before we get to that, this fight was very good from Pryoxis and Young Poe. Can't wait to see both of those guys back in the ring. But what would you have to do differently if you're Young Poe to kind of not be in that situation when you're getting knocked down continuously?
Honestly, learn from the mistakes. And against someone like Pryoxis, I know it's hard to say this because people love fan-friendly fights. I would try to actually frustrate Pryoxis, because Young Poe played into his hands from the first bell. It was Young Poe going to Pride. It was Young Poe trying to pressure Pride, trying to hurt him from the first bell, rather than make Pride lose the first few rounds and Pride chase the fight. Poe was always chasing the fight. So if I'm Poe, next time I want to try to come in there, land a few punches in the first round, at the start of every round, land a few punches, and me be the one to box off of the back foot and make Pride chase the fight. And that would be specifically against Pryoxis and how he fights and his level of thinking, because Pride's one of those guys that he can probably adjust to that as well. But it might, because I know I can box off of the back foot, it might keep him off bay. But if I'm someone that's going to come in and mix it up with Pride he will switch up. If I know I'm landing left hooks and I'm going all guns blazing, he will switch it up and find something to counter me. So I'd rather be on my bike from the first bell. Tit for tat, frustrate and move, and then get him chasing the fight down the middle to later segments of that fight.
Yeah, exactly, man. That was a crazy fight. You really couldn't ask for anything more than that. That was definitely entertaining. Pryoxis, every time that he hits the squared circle or in the ring right here, always definitely being very entertaining. I mean,